Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you could see it and you could purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a Panerai Radiomir SLC 3 days that was new for 2012. This is the Panerai Radiomir SLC 3 days PAM00425. 47mm in stainless steel. It's a traditional wire lug Panerai Radiomir, dedicated to the image and spirit of the 1930s and 1940s Panerai 3646 combat watch. Specifically, its earliest iterations, as this dial conforms roughly to the mid-30s prototype, and the wire lugs conform to the earliest versions of the 3646. The watch on my wrist is in many ways the general production version of the Panerai Radiomir SLC 449. So if you remember that one without the SLC or the man torpedo on the dial plus blue hands, that was a limited series with a plexiglass crystal. This one's very much like that, albeit with the pig dial, the rose gold hands, and sapphire rather than plexiglass. The watch in 47mm is also fairly thick. As you can see, 16mm thick, but the case flank is severally stepped, and there is a domed, almost plexiglass-like sapphire that allows this watch to fit fairly easily underneath a jacket cuff. Now, the spacing between the lugs is 27mm, and you can see it's not a conventional lug spacing because of the wire lug arrangement. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But the strap itself is a handsome, minimally tanned Panerai calfskin with a little bit of an ecru stitch that corresponds nicely to the colors of the dial, and then on the underside, a more natural grained calfskin. This is a handmade Austrian Panerai factory strap. You can see the 1970s inspired OP logo, and then oval rather than square or circular apertures, none of them gouged. This is a new strap, and a polished trapezoidal Panerai pin buckle. Jump into the case, you can see again, this is the wire lug Radiomir. This is not the Rod 1940 with these straight welded style lugs. You got a lovely domed bezel, polished case flank, complex contours, and you can see this is one of the Panerai watches that actually features its reference number externally embossed on the case. Turn it all over, you have the screw down crown with the 1970s logo outside, but the profile very much that of the 30s and 40s, back when these were actually oyster-cased watches made for Panerai by Rolex, so a little bit of that Rolex design DNA in the screw-down crown profile. The lugs themselves can be removed, not quite as easily as you would find with the screw-fixed bars on a traditional Luminor, but you can see that there are screws on the underside that you can screw out using your strap tool, pop the wire lugs out, swap the strap. You do not have to cut the strap, and there's no trickery regarding the swapping process. It's a simple matter of threading out a few well-placed screws. The case band gives way to a sapphire that does its level best to recreate the plexiglass of the 449 as well as the vintage watches, and you can see you do get scratch-resistant sapphire, and with that same lovely off-axis distortion. The dial features the SLC, or the Soluro Alanta Corsa, the low-speed torpedo ridden by Decima Flotilla frogmen, most notably during the raid on Alexandria, destroying British ships in harbor during World War II. Decima Flotilla, in many ways, the pioneer of modern elite cadre amphibious tactical forces. You also note the primitive dial featuring the double index at 12 and then the extended indices with dot indices around the dial. So this is based on the earliest mid-1930s Panerai prototypes, and it's not a look you see often. It's generally reserved for rather special models like this one. You have the rose gold hands. It's a matte base, and you can see it's a sandwich dial. So there's a black stencil with engraved Radiomir Panerai at 12 o'clock, but then you can see a loomed solid disc below the stencil, which is why there appears to be some depth to the indices. That is because there quite literally is. It creates a furious burning loom at night, and even a little bit of a three-dimensional loom effect. The watch features a unique travel time functionality, so screw the crown out, and then you have the ability to adjust the hour hand independently of the minutes. The watch keeps telling time, so there's no interruption. This is a great feature for travelers, and you can see the crown screws down quite easily, 100 meters water resistant, so an eminently swimmable watch if you throw it on a water-resistant band. The case back is designed to emulate the Rolex Codebert pocket watch movements used on the earliest models, so you have not quite the reality but the image of a 3/4 plate. It's split down the center for ease of servicing. You have the satin finish that was common on those movements, but finish overall here is much higher. Black polished screws. You have a machined chamfer on the edge of every bridge. You can see that lighting up. You have an engine turning or perlage on the base plate, and then you have two mainspring barrels manually wound, 21 joules, 72-hour power reserve, beats weight at 21,600 vibrations per hour, an enormous balance wheel, and you can really see that the full balance bridge with a free sprung index makes this a modern, highly shock-resistant Panerai manufacture movement. Caliber P3000, launched in 2010, and this model launched in 2012. This is an O series example, so right from the beginning. You can see and you can own this Panerai Radiomir SLC 3 days on the watch box. Panerai Radiomir PAM00425.